We are good to go. We are live, and I'm super excited. As we're coming on the line, we're going to get started on this amazing training about building your dream and thriving coaching business. So I'm on the line with two legends from different countries. I'm in New York, United States. Joshua is from the UK. It's midnight there, I believe.
Yeah.
And Corey's from Canada. And as we're kicking off this amazing live training, inside the comments, let us know where you're watching this from. So where you at right now, what part of the world, and put it in the comments. Age, sex, location. Super curious where you're from, what's your orientation, what are you up to? And as we are going, Joshua, please let everyone know who you are and what you do.
Okay, so I'm from the UK, born and raised. I run a marketing agency called Influence Media. Prior to that, like for the last 7-8 years, I've been in the fitness industry. So I built my first fitness business in 2012 and pretty much started from the ground up, went from no real money, like training people at parks, to getting a facility, to building a team. That was a challenge. Good first few years, hustled, invested again and again and again to better my knowledge in marketing, sales, and ultimately everything that for me has created some of the big breakthroughs. So I went from struggling to get clients and struggling to really find a purpose in what I was doing or passion in what I was doing, to then building a brand that felt like me. And I did that. I built that up to 25K a month, built out a team, was able to travel the world and ultimately find myself. And I think for the last 2.5 years, I kind of went past the fitness industry and started working with a lot more of entrepreneurs and business owners to do what I do today, which is something I love deeply, which is kind of why we're on this. It's brought me to this moment right now. It's brought me to this moment where we've got some exciting stuff coming up in Bali. So yeah, that's the cliff notes.
Yeah, no, and I want to elaborate on that before I go further, Joshua, because there's a lot of people on the line there listening, and they want to build a brand that they're proud of and they're excited about, that represents them. So like, what's like one tip just to kind of open up that conversation if someone's like, man, I got this logo or I got this business, but it doesn't align to like my soul's purpose. How could they even get into that right direction?
For me, I like to look at it as a combination of things that you love. So like, what are you outwardly passionate about? And what are you really good at? Like, because that's where I feel you've got to draw the line. Like, I think you refer to it as like your superpower. And that's something like with my clients, I'll often say is like, what's your gift? What are you, what are you exceptional at? What do you absolutely love? And I think when we combine that with what we're passionate about and what we love, great things can happen. But yeah, I think going a step deeper, I think when you really know yourself, when you've got awareness of who you are as a person, it becomes a lot easier to find that path into how do I create that within a brand. Does that make sense? Is that it's kind of a direct but an indirect answer?
Yeah, that's great. What are you passionate about? It reminded me of a great quote by Martin Luther King. He says, if you're not willing to die for something, then don't even commit for it, and don't even commit to it. And it's like, you got to like create this business that you're like willing to die for. You're really to like get onto the mountaintops and be like, you have to do this program. My life exists on this. So that's a powerful way to start, a great foundation to kind of like get pulled by like your soul's reins. Yes.
Yeah,
and
I like that. I'm
going to introduce the other gentleman on the line, my man, Corey Johnson from
What's going on,
Canada.
guys? Canada, Toronto.
Toronto represent. See some people on the line. My man, Danny Torres from New Jersey. Kathy, I see you. So the same question, Corey, to kick things off. Where you're from, what do you do?
Yeah, so I'm from Toronto. I'm a branding consultant. I help influencers build their brands, and I help brands get more exposure. So I guess to give you a quick rundown of my story, I started when I was 16, started off as purely a graphic design business. And then I was trying to build that up. And I realized that it didn't just take building a website and like getting some business cards to actually get business. I had to learn marketing. So I learned marketing. I fell in love with marketing. I started working with more like internet marketers and influencers. And eventually, I've I've come a long way from, that 16-year-old kid in his mom's basement. And I get to work with people that, I used to just sit at home and watch on TV or watch on YouTube. And yeah, I'm grateful. So that's a quick little rundown of who I am and what I do.
I appreciate that.
Yeah.
And I'm going to ask you a similar question along the lines of that, but I just want to check in because I got a lot of comments here on Facebook. Got Mard. He says, check out Killer Stack Labs. Sounds good. Ferez checking in from the Netherlands. Mona is saying, good morning. Good evening. Hey, Mendy. So if you guys are watching in the comments, just let us know where you're watching this from. I'm in New York. Corey's in Toronto. And Josh is in the UK where it's midnight. So I believe the next
worldwide.
Yo, Corey, so many people are watching this, and you guys are very modest because you guys have worked with like the biggest influencers in the marketplace, entrepreneurs, best-selling authors, people that are just like dominating the internet. But let's say someone is a coach and they want to take their brand to the next level, get worldwide recognition, just have this massive following. What is some advice you would give to get them in the right direction?
Yeah, so very good question. The first step is really just like looking at the message and just honestly asking yourself, like, is this message going to be able to relate with the masses? Is everybody going to be able to connect with this? Or is this just going to be able to connect with a certain niche audience? And then once you can honestly answer that question for yourself, is then a matter of, sort of realigning yourself and saying, okay, what is the message I want to leave for the world? And look back on your story and look back on your purpose and really just try to dial in, like, what is the message I want to die with? What's that legacy I want to live? Because that's going to be the biggest message that's going to connect with the audience. And because you're emotionally connected to it, they're going to be emotionally connected to it. So, yeah.
Love that. That's very powerful. And it's something that I teach a lot to my students because I believe that we all have this amazing superpower. And like every superhero that has a superpower, they have an origin story. And I feel that before we became these experts or these coaches, we started off in very humble beginnings. And something happened to us that perhaps put us in a place of pain. We overcame the pain. We gained a new superpower, and now we want to help the world. And a big part of branding is really sharing your story. As you guys said, like you have this backstory. Josh was mentioning his fitness background, and you had so much interest in marketing and music, and all of these things led you up to now wanting to help people. And you're now amalgamating all these amazing skills into this amazing story that you have. And I feel like once you share your story of like why you do what you do, you connect with people in a far deeper way.
Yeah, exactly. It's really just reverse engineering, where you came from and realizing that there's going to be a ton of other people in the world that were there and that want to be where you are. And your responsibility as a coach specifically is to get them there, because there's a saying when you're choosing your coach that you want to invest in a coach that's been where you are right now and is where you want to be, because they're going to be the person that'll be able to pull you there the fastest because they've been there and they've done that. So
Absolutely. I agree with that. Like one of the fastest ways to get to where you want to go is to be around people that already do what you aspire to do, right? It's the old Jim Rohn quote says you're the average of the closest people in your life. And when you're around successful people, they think positively, they take risks, they are very optimistic about life, the economy, and you're around that energy, and all of a sudden you start to shift. You're like, holy cow, I'm playing small. Like these people are doing big things and they're no smarter than me, and they pull you up to the next level. So question for Josh, because you have a very wise marketing mind. So there's people on the line, myself included, when I was starting out, I was in a place where I was putting out so much great content, doing videos, Facebook Lives, putting out these long ass posts, pouring my heart out into the world, but it was like crickets, on the videos. I was making offers. I was getting people to join my program, but no one wanted to buy from me. So what advice do you have for someone who's putting out a lot of content, but they're not getting traction?
I guess it's multifaceted. I like to break everything down and look at it as a process. And I think that's probably a big lesson in itself. Most people struggle and they say, well, I'm doing Facebook Lives, but they're not working. Or I'm running Facebook ads, but they're not working. Or, I tried a flyer drop and I got nothing. And when you break it down into a process and you actually say, okay, well, who was you marketing to? Okay, so who was your niche? Who was your target market? And what solution was you providing? So most people know what solution they're providing, but they don't know how to align that with the problems of their target market. And I think that's where people go wrong. They don't break it down into who are you marketing to? What is the actual message? And then looking at the actual effectiveness of the delivery as well. So let's say you are running a Facebook ad, you could have a great message, but if you are targeting it to the right people, if the right people aren't hearing it, then it doesn't matter how good that message is. So I would say is actually look at go back to square one and actually say, who is it I'm serving? Who is it I'm serving, and what problems do they have? What are their core frustrations? What are their core challenges in their life? What are some of the biggest challenges in their life? And then even break that down into what are the core challenges that present themselves in their day-to-day life. And then look at what solution, what solution are you providing, and how does that actually align with that? How can you create a metaphor? How can you create a story? How can you engineer a system that gets them from where they are now to where they want to be? So yeah, I think everyone's very fast at marketing these days is all based very much just pushes on the text. You need this funnel, you need this tripwire, you need this webinar system, or you need this retargeting system, you need this, you need that. You need this messenger bot, and this will, skyrocket your business. And all the tactics, right? But tactics don't mean shit if you don't actually know, if you don't have a core message that's actually relevant in the first place. So I would say start there. It starts with the client, starts and ends with the client in a lot of cases. The more you fall in love with helping that person, the easier it's going to be to connect with them, the easier it's going to be to help with them, the easier it's going to be to attract more of them.
That's a great tip. I appreciate that, Josh, because it's kind of we have this soulmate client in our minds of who we want to attract. Perhaps it's someone that we've worked before in the past, or someone we would love to transform. And I feel like a lot of it's getting clear on who that soulmate client is, and touching upon what you said, it's just having a strategy of okay, who is this specific person, the client avatar, and just kind of writing out their characteristics. And I think the best way to attract them is to solve their problem. So one thing I'd recommend is to basically have this soulmate client that you want to bring into your world, who you want to serve, and just write their biggest problems. These are the top 10 big problems they think about all day long. And then when you make your videos or your posts, you're talking to that one person, and their ears get hyper-focused because they're holy shit, this person knows who I am. They understand my pain and my problem, because I feel oftentimes, myself included, we talk in a very general way. I want to help everyone. I want to help everyone lose weight, have better sex, become happier, be the best they could be. But when you're talking to everyone, you hit no one, right? Because it's better to get hyper-focused on that one individual and pull them into your world.
Yeah, fully. Yeah.
And if a person is basically putting out a lot of organic content, do you recommend them to run ads immediately? Or do you say okay, get the organic dialed in, get the branding dialed in before you experiment with paid traffic?
I think for me, it depends on a few variables, what's your cash flow? how much money have you got to invest and test? If you've got money that you can test and it, you can spend that money and it's not too much of a worry whether or not, that ad works or that campaign works. If you can test, most big businesses spend huge amounts of money in research and development. So they spend all this time and money figuring stuff out. So when it comes to the launch, or like it comes to like the final edition, they've got it how they want it. Most small businesses like don't have that advantage. They don't have that time. They don't have the cash flow. So I think I would say go organic first, depending on though, like if you have an audience, like if you're trying to, which again, it could still be organic. Like if you're trying to break into a new market, or you start from scratch and you have no audience, if you're going to go organic, you need to build that audience. So you're still going to spend money there one way or another. But yeah, like I'm a big believer, test the message first, get it working, and then take it to then put some money behind it with traffic.
Okay, so let's say if I have $1,000 to test on my online business, what are some ways I could test it?
So if you've got $1,000, I guess maybe the question I'd ask is, do you need a return on that $1,000 straight away?
Hell yeah. I want to make $100,000. I want to flip it, man.
There we are. For me, like it would come down to like how much do you know about your market straight away right now? Like if you already know who you're serving, if you've already done like the psychographic research, if you've already done a series of surveys, or you've already been in front of that client and you've been able to gather, research and craft your offer, then I would probably run either an awareness campaign, depending on your talents as well. Like if you're really charismatic and you're good on camera, like I would start putting out some video content to build awareness, and then I would retarget your viewers with an offer. So I'd drive them to either a webinar or a VSL. Again, depending on what industry you're in. Like for me, what worked really well back in the day, like as a coach, like before Facebook was as oversaturated with a lot of like the market than it is now, like we used to go direct to the hit. We used to push people straight into strategy sessions. And I think if you're a local business and if you're putting out good content, you can still do that like somewhat. But if you're in the online world, I think you've got to be more strategic. You've got to create a lot more buy-in or build a lot more trust on the front end. So I think the cheapest, most effective way you could do that would be to maybe put money on something like this, put money behind some live videos or, video content where you're demonstrating that knowledge, where you built, delivering a lot of value. And then I would retarget people that are watching 25, 50% plus of that content with an offer.
Wow.
Does that make sense?
Great strategy. It's very logical. Yeah. I like that.
Yeah, I would have said the exact same thing. Yeah, at some point.
So I'm going to follow up this question to an area that you have a lot of expertise in, Corey. We actually had a great conversation about this earlier, but let's say, for example, someone is following Joshua's strategy. They're putting out great content. They're doing everything they can, but they just don't get the connection. Maybe it's not so much what they're putting out, but like how they're showing up, right? Lacking energy, lacking inspiration. Maybe they had a bad month of business. Maybe their girlfriend just broke up with them and they're just losing that drive, that mojo, and they're in a place of low confidence. So how would you recommend someone have that confidence to be this amazing influencer, this world-class transformation expert?
Yeah, at the end of the day, it starts with them. Put it like this. At the end of the day, it's like you're selling that energy. You have to be on point, and you have to entertain the people and connect with them in order to, give them the opportunity to come on that journey on transformation with you. And at the end of the day, it's like if you're not right, if you're not feeling right, it's going to be very hard to transfer that emotion to someone else. You know what I mean? If you feel disconnected, it's going to be hard to connect with somebody else. So it comes back down to that self-love, that self-care, and making sure that you have those daily habits built in so that you're on point, you're in flow. You know what I mean?
Yes. I appreciate that. And there's a lot of questions coming in. I'll address those in a second. But let's say, for example, someone is slacking off on their daily habits, their meditation, their mindset routine, and they're just feeling out of it, right? You wake up one morning, you just feel blah. You're like, I don't want to do no damn video. I got to do for my Facebook ads or retargeting, building this funnel, but I don't feel like doing shit. And when they're in that place of just being defeated, how do you get them to like feel resourceful again?
And is this someone who's a client, or is this an influencer, someone who's trying to build their brand? They're just stuck in that.
An influencer. They're a badass.
Yeah. Okay.
Game, they can change
lives.
This
honestly,
morning, best morning.
Yeah, honestly, the fastest way is just connecting with someone that's going to remind you of who you are. It's like, no, what are you talking about, bro? You're a badass. It's like someone that's going to lift you up and remind you who you are. You know what I mean? And that's why your circle is so important. So important, because those days, you're always going to have those low days. We're human beings. You know what I mean? Just because we're coaches, influencers, and whatnot, doesn't mean we're not human. It doesn't mean we're not always growing. And it's like surrounding yourself with a circle that's going to, as soon as you have a little bit of dip, they're going to pull you up, and they're going to pull you up higher than you were before. You know? That's it. 100%. That's it. Your circle is everything.
Your circle is everything. And I could not agree more. So I'm hanging out with you guys and having this high level conversation. It's so much harder to talk about this stuff by myself, but asking you guys questions and feeding off you makes us all flow. And before I get into the next segment, I want to address some questions. Basically, Mard says about Instagram ads. So I'm getting a lot of tactical questions, more along the lines of Instagram ads. Are they good? Mard Majid says, Mendy says, thoughts on ClickFunnels. And before I get into all this, I'll ask Joshua, like, if people are focused on the softwares and the funnels and these tactical things, right? But they don't have the target market figured out. They don't have the routine where they're showing up on top of their game. What do you think is more important, basically?
I think it depends where you're at, doesn't it? Like, a lot of people, like, it's easy to make decisions if you're not in survival. So what I mean is, like, if you're running a side business, or even maybe it's your main business, but you've got money in the bank and you know, maybe you're relatively safe, you're not going to think, right, I've got to make bank, or I'm going to be on the streets in 2, 3, 4 weeks. Like, I think if you're good and you're in that headspace, I would say take a step back. Everyone's in a rush to hustle. Everyone's in a rush to build their empire, make lots of money. And, you know, to somewhat, I'm maybe a bit of a hypocrite, because that mindset is the mindset I had early days, and it did me well. It got me to where I am now, but it's certainly not the mindset that pushes me to grow and move in the ways that I do now. And I find with a lot of my clients, like, what I get them to do is I get them to take a step back. So I don't say, right, well, let's start doing all this shit. Like, I remove stuff away. So I would say, if you've not got stuff figured out, like, spend that time. Like, that's the most pinnacle, you know, point. Figure out who you want to help, who you want to serve, and use common sense. Like, obviously your business has got to make money. Like, that's where you build a business. It's got to allow you to create this growth. So is your target market, like, you might have a target market, for instance, let's say, like, you want to help, I don't know, let's say you've got a passion, maybe you use an overweight kid, and now you want to help overweight kids. Well, if you want to build a business around that, you're not going to do that by marketing to overweight kids. You'd market to their parents. And depending on price points and stuff like that, like, you're not going to want to, you know, as much as you want to, you know, if you want to help people that, you know, are unemployed and whatnot, like, great, but do it as a charity. Like, build a business that allows you to do that. But if it's your main business, or it's a business to make money, like, really just think about who's your marketplace, who's your target market, and is it a viable marketplace? Like, can you actually serve them? Does it make sense on paper? And I would say go back to that. But I think if they're losing power, like, if you haven't got the confidence within you, if you're not waking up and you're not feeling the power, or you're not feeling inspired to create, then there's a lot to learn from that. And I'd really go back to what does create that spark? What does create that, you know, what does create that spark for you to want to create? Because once you get aligned with that, you'll get more clarity in terms of the direction you go in. And if you've got clarity and momentum in that way, doing the work to profile your marketplace, doing the work to overcome the challenges will become fun. Like, it will become a journey. It'll become an adventure.
Yes.
Yeah. And I was just going to say that, add on that, it's like, because coming back to that point where we're all human beings, not just coaches and influence speakers, etc. It's like you're dealing with, the curveballs that life's going to throw you, and you're also dealing with the day-to-day in your business and helping the people you want to help. So it's like, if you don't feel inspired on a day, it's like, cool. It's like, it is what it is. You know what I mean? There's no need to like beat yourself up over it. It's like, that's just how it works. You know what I mean? You're going to have those days. And when you have those days, I guess coming from now as a coach or someone who needs to show up and create content for people, it's like, see how you can take that energy and spin it into something else. Maybe you open up and you be more vulnerable about, today I'm not feeling good, but I'm going to decide to show up anyways. Or maybe you decide you just want to stay silent, and that's cool too. You know what I mean? You, at the end of the day, you call the shots, you do what you want. Everyone works differently. Everybody has their own styles. So it's just about knowing yourself, adapting to that, and just doing you.
Yes, it's a great point. And I want to touch upon two things you guys said, because a lot of it's like not forcing it, taking a step back, right? Because business is a marathon, right? And there are going to be days of great momentum, inspiration, creativity, and days where you just feel blah. You feel like taking a nap or taking a day off. And I feel it's so important in the entrepreneurial journey to become aligned by taking time off, right? One thing we're going to talk about is even going to Bali, getting away, being in a tropical place, new people, new environment, new inspiration. You come back fresh, so inspired, like you essentially sharpen your saw. And I'm a big believer in this, but by choice, because I used to be like big on the hustle, work all the time, serve, give, never turn it off. And I got burnt out and just got so unmotivated that I was getting sick and tired and injured. And all of a sudden I started to realize that if I continue on this pace, like sprinting, I'm not going to last very long, right? If I want to have decades of growth, I got to learn how to take time off, rejuvenate, right? So I'm a big believer now in taking time off, taking naps, taking vacations, getting away, going to masterminds, talking to new people. It's like, if I want to have a sustainable business and sustainable success, I got to learn to take a step back and listening to inner wisdom. I was in a mastermind years ago called the 25K group. And the guy who runs it, his name's Joe Polish. He has a great insight, and he talks about your entrepreneurial life is that of a $1 million thoroughbred racehorse, right? So imagine yourself as this amazing thoroughbred racehorse. And if you're running every race and you're just pushing yourself to the limits, always practicing, always working, always hustling, you're going to tire yourself out, right? But the secrets of the $1 million thoroughbred racehorses is they have the best coaches, the best food, rest, massages, vitamins. They race the big races and then just chill for the rest of the year, So it's really about yourself and taking care of yourself and knowing that if I'm going to be this sustainable marathon entrepreneur, I got to take time off. I got to go to Bali, relax, kick back. I just can't be working all the time.
Yeah, fully.
So another thing I want to talk about is that term, your vibe attracts your tribe. So in the comments, when you hear that term, your vibe attracts your tribe, what does that mean to you? And that could be on your social media, or if you're in person, how you operate. Josh, when I say your vibe attracts your tribe, what comes up?
For me, it's you attract who you are. Like, I think at the end of the day, you're going to attract into your life the person that you be in. And I think in reflection, it makes me want to choose more wisely the person I decide to be on a daily basis, so I can attract the people into my life, and I keep attracting the people into my life that I can consider friends and ultimately enjoy being around. Is that what you meant?
We have a mutual friend here, Corey. What do you enjoy about being around Corey?
Come on, bro. I know you got a ton to say, man. Come on, bring it up.
My list. For me, Corey's just always full of Always full of shit. Nice.
Oh man, I thought you were gonna say, all
For me,
right.
Corey's always positive. Corey's always for me, like I always enjoy getting on a call with Corey because like I probably don't know anyone more positive, maybe with the exception of you, AJ. But like for me, like Corey is always this beam of positivity and optimism. And I think like our conversations always tend to evolve. So what starts as one concept, or like at the start of the conversation, like we're talking here, by the end we're like talking here. And for me, that excites me, that inspires me to think that little bit more, that little bit bigger, or a lot bigger in a lot of ways. So yeah, that's what I love about hanging out with Corey. Always
Thank you, bro. Some bro love. Yeah, and AJ, I just want to add on to what you're saying, like, or to this topic, like, from a brand perspective, I see it as like you just got to be you, because at the end of the day, it's like if you're trying to be somebody else, it's exactly what Josh said. You're going to attract somebody else who isn't in alignment with who you are. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So yeah. And it's going to be good in the sense that you're going to bring in people into your audience, etc., that they're actually like, they're not just there because they like your content, they're there because they like you, you know, and that creates a totally different culture in your community. It builds a new level of depth of relationship to your audience, you know, and that's everything. The relationship with your audience is all your brand really is at the end of the day. That's it.
100%. Yeah. You're attracting yourself. And Mard Majid says, like attracts life, law of attraction 101, 100%. And that applies into your business, you know. As I mentioned earlier, like you have this amazing soulmate client that you want to serve and you love being around them. And essentially it's like the person you want to transform the most, who you love to serve. And if you just write out all their qualifications, whether it's based on an old client or someone you aspire to work towards, it's just really talking to them and being yourself, right? As I mentioned, the short exercise of just like writing down like the 10 things you want to help them with. What are their 10 biggest problems, their pain points? Make a list of that and then just do a solution for all those problems. And I guarantee you, if you just show up on social media, on your email list, wherever you have a following, you just talk to that one person, you'll see people raising their hands like, hey, I'm that person. I need your help. You're the person for me. And I do this exercise when I host seminars because I have all these people, sometimes 100 people standing in a room, and I'll just take like maybe 4 or 5 random people and I'll bring them up to the front and I'll ask them questions. I'm like, what type of books do you like? And what are your favorite motivational speakers? And it's so funny because like the people have a lot of in common, you know, it's like males and females, young and old. It's like these different people came together in this room for that one purpose because I operate in a certain way and like my frequency attracts people just like me. And that's why I just love being around my clients, you know, and that's what I urge you guys to do is like, if you curse more. If you're just like straight edge, structured, textbook, analytical, be more like that. Because there's people that are just like you that want to give you money to transform their life. Simple as that.
Yeah, and I feel the main reason people don't do that is because there's this limiting belief that if you're yourself, there's going to be some type of consequence from that. Whether it's less people like you, you get less business. But I feel that's just that lingering thing from the whole corporate culture. You know what I mean? But at the end of the day, if you're an entrepreneur, you call the shots. You get to you're in this thing because you're doing you. And that doesn't change when it comes to building your brand personality and expressing that. And it's a very, very, very common challenge, you know, finding your brand voice and then expressing that, you know?
Exactly. I appreciate it. Yeah. Don't be afraid to be yourself, you know? And I always say, like,
you're silly, be silly.
Be silly, be goofy, you know? Curse. Yeah. Corey and I were not experimenting with music, and he's taking it more serious than me. But, I got a little studio set up in my house, and I started rapping.
I'll be there soon.
Yes. And Corey's coming, maybe Josh too. And we're all going to record an album together.
Yeah, I'm down with that. I'm down.
But we're doing this for fun and obviously to help people, but it's like when we're putting this music out and just having a good time with it, other people that are inclined to be in the same type of music, the same type of vibe, they want to be around it, you know? So it's like, don't hide your hobbies or your quirks. Share them. I talk about my good stuff, my flaws, my vulnerability. I mean, just a few hours ago, I shared a really vulnerable post about a near-death experience, you know? I don't do that because I want to scare people away. No, because the people that I love, they're going to become attracted to me. The people that are never going to be in my life, they get repelled very quickly. So it's like creating that content that's so polarizing that it attracts the right people and repels the wrong people.
Mm.
So
yeah,
I'm going to read some comments. Frank says, fuck yeah, be you. My man, Frank Barca.
Yeah, Frank. I like that. I like that.
Delcina West is a new client that came to my program. She says, there's always the fear of rejection that sometimes holds one's back. Yes, great quote. Rejection is protection. So if someone rejects you, they're not even meant to be in your life, right? Whether or not that's true or that's a delusional belief, it makes you happy. You know, so if someone rejects you, well, screw them. They're not good enough for you, right? You don't need them. So one more thing that I wanted to discuss is the most important thing of this training is the fact that we are hosting an event in Bali, Indonesia, and it's happening a month from now, the end of June, last week of June, 5-day event. And I want to tell you guys about this amazing experience because Josh, Corey, and I, we're going to be down there. We're going to be utilizing all of our superpowers. There's some cool people coming too. We want to invite you to join us in Bali. And I'm going to have Josh just give some of the logistics just about the event. We got this amazing villa. We're going to be learning inside there in the daytime. And I've never been to Bali before. So Corey and Josh have been there. So they're kind of breaking my Bali virginity. So I'm both excited but uncertain of what's going to happen because I've not left the country in many years, especially going to like Indonesia. It's like a 30-hour flight from New York. So I have a lot of fears that come up. So Josh, please ease my fears and the people that are listening.
Well,
why Bali first and foremost?
Why Bali? So 2.5 years ago, about 2.5 years ago, nearly 3 years ago, me and Corey took like a 3.5 month trip, which started in Toronto for me. It's like a month in Toronto, and then we went to Thailand for a few weeks, and then into Bali. And out of that whole trip, Bali was the most transformative. It came at like a really great time. Like everything happens for a reason, and the moment could have been a lot better. But Bali for me was just transformative on so many levels. Like it inspired me to reach out to my sister in New Zealand and randomly decide to book a flight and fly over like later that week. So I remember we had this really nice Airbnb, chilling in the pool. Sometimes there was a few nights where it was like thunderstorms, just relaxing out in the pool at like midnight. And yeah, like within a week, I rang my sister. I was like, "Hey, would you mind me coming over?" And obviously, she was excited, and she was really excited because I'd not seen her in nearly 2 years, I believe. So Bali for me is transformative on a level where it helped me find myself, and it kind of motivated me or inspired me to connect more on a deeper level with my family as well. Because up until that point, I'd been very just business focused, very just driven around maybe money, maybe business. We still live? Do you still hear me? Yeah. And where have we left? Is AJ gone?
I think AJ just got disconnected, but we'll keep it going. We take over the party.
Yeah. So yeah, Bali's just transformative on every level. I mean, what can you remember of Bali, Corey? Like out of that trip, what was most impactful for you?
I feel like for me, it was like, I feel like the most impactful moment for me was just, I don't know, there's just something about like the vibe, the energy in Bali where it's like you're just like, I'll put it like this. I haven't been at more peace in my life than when I was there. That's it. That's it. Like, aside from that, definitely just the experiences, the fun we had. And it's also, you know, when we're together, we're not just chilling, partying, having fun, etc. We're working not only on the business, but on ourselves. You know what I mean? And it's those conversations, I feel like, in that environment that that made the biggest difference, you know, aside from being in that space. But yeah, man.
Yeah, fully.
Yeah, so with that said, let's dive into what we're going to be covering here in this retreat.
Yeah. So I think with all that made it a no-brainer to host this event in Bali, because I think when you're stepping into your message and you're stepping into the power of building a brand that you feel aligned with, that you feel connected with, that feels authentic, that feels real, that gives you the fuel to want to show up and serve. All of that comes back to self-awareness. Like, all of that is built around you knowing yourself. So what better a place than Bali to allow people to do that? And that's what the first day of the 5-day retreat. So this is going off at the end of June, last week of June. We've got a beautiful luxury villa out there where we'll be learning around the pool, around the table with one another. Day one is all centered around clarity. It's all centered around you gaining a deeper understanding to why you were put on this earth and who you were put on this earth to help. And I think for that, evolving past that understanding of yourself, the mindset, the development within yourself to really show up, it then comes a game of understanding your message. So like we talked earlier about people trying lots of different tactics when it comes to marketing. But when you can really connect with your message, obviously, Corey, you know this just as much as I do with the guys that you're working with. But when you connect with your message, everything becomes a lot more effortless. Everything becomes a lot more fun. It doesn't need to be about all the different tactics, because everything is really built around that. When you're building your business, so you're looking to market your business, you're looking to attract more people. Like, at the core of that is the message. And day two is really about stepping into that. And I believe, Corey, you'll be leading a lot of the talk on that day too. So is there anything you'd like to say about that?
Yeah, so I guess in terms of what I'm going to be leading that day, it's mostly going to be around your message. And I guess the big problem I'm trying to solve is like, how are you going to create a brand and a message that's not going to feel forced, and you're not going to have to, you're going to feel more pulled to do it than pushing all the time. So that's basically what I'm going to cover at the course, so that building the brand, it feels natural, and it just feels right, and you feel like you're actually making an impact, you know? So yeah.
Fully. Yeah. And then day three, we're going to be looking at stepping into the actual experience you create for your clients. So, you know, understanding yourself is one part, understanding the message is another. But if you really want to be successful, that success lies within the success you create for others. And if you create a transformative experience for people, it becomes easy to take this idea, this concept, this result, and expand it into a bigger movement. And so, you know, what I really want to get down to on this day is helping people create a bigger impact with the work they do, and how that looks in terms of a coaching program or experience that you're selling. Day four, or not necessarily in this order, but day four, we're definitely going to be going out for an adventure. Like, a big part of Bali is the experience of being there. And day four is when I plan to make it kind of an extra special, extra memorable moment by taking everyone out to explore and have some fun. But amongst that, we're going to be diving into how you can maximize your marketing. So we've already talked a lot about different tactics and things people can do. For me, it's about laying a simple foundation. It's creating simplicity in how you actually market your business. Because I believe when we do that from a place of understanding, by tapping into everything we've talked about so far, when we do that and we apply a simplistic approach to marketing, it becomes so much easier and so much more fun, and therefore so much more effective at evolving your brand, evolving the business, impacting more people, reaching more people. So is there anything you'd like to add in there, Corey? Can you hear me, Corey? I can't hear you.
I was talking the whole time. I'm sorry, guys, I was muted. I got a little background noise right now, so my bad.
I'm like checking my speakers.
No, I was saying, my bad. I was saying that I'm just scrolling through the comments here, and if you guys have any questions while we're chatting, feel free to just anything around branding, marketing, messaging, just feel free to drop those in the comment section, and we'll make sure to get those answered for you. So yeah, Josh, you can get back to what you were saying. My bad.
That's cool. So after a day of adventure, after a day of simplifying and ultimately maximizing the route to market your business, to market your services, to let your message be heard, we're going to be looking at how we unlock your power. So again, this is multifaceted, but for me, like, your ability to show up with power, can absolutely transform your results. So a big part of what I want to make sure people walk away with is the ability to confidently show up on camera, the ability to confidently share who they are as a person, to be themselves. And what better a way to do that than actually get people in the trenches to refine and actually master their message by going through on-camera training, by going through production and photo shoots to really step into and embody who they are as a coach, who they are as a person. So yeah, a big part of this whole event is that it's not just learning. It's not just theory. Like, we're not just going to ask you some questions and then at the end say, cool guys, go away and, learn some more on that when you can. It's learning and doing. It's learning and doing for this whole process. So rather than say you should be good on camera, we're going to make sure by the end of this retreat, you're a natural on camera. Rather than just saying you should have some professional photos, ideally, we're going to make sure that you walk away and you feel confident with the person and the image and the identity that you're showing up with. So a lot of that comes down to, making you feel natural on camera. And a bigger part of this underlying, and really where I want to wrap up day 5, is looking at how people can implement some simple systems into the business. Because I find a lot of coaches, a lot of business owners naturally, like, they have big ideas, they have big dreams, they want to help more people, but they get frustrated in doing the small stuff within the business, the day-to-day stuff. And I think you don't need to. It doesn't have to be as difficult as that. When we implement some simple systems in place and we look at structuring how you actually deliver your program, you can save time. And if you're saving time doing the little things, it means you can spend more time investing it in the things that you do love. And when we do that, well, that's when magic happens. That's when we're able to create some really impactful results in our business for the clients that we work with, but also have a great experience doing it ourselves as well, which I think is, for me, that's the reason I run a business. The reason I run business is because I love doing it. So yeah. AJ's back.
Yeah. And with that said, we got a question in from Delcina West, and she says, how do you recognize what your brand is? So, okay, Delcina, I'd say I'm going to give you my quick rundown of that question, and then Josh can answer. Your brand is essentially your story. It's your story. It's what it comes down to, actually, the impact and the ripple effect that impact is making. So to answer your question and keep it super simple, what's your story? You know, what's something, and this is me assuming that you're building a coaching brand. What's your story? You know, what's something you've been through that you've conquered and you came out on the other side and you feel inspired to help people with that same problem you were experiencing? Comes down to that, really. Yeah, Josh, your thoughts?
My thoughts are similar. My thoughts are the same, but also different, and I'll expand on that. Like, for me, like, I work with a lot of clients that aren't personal brands. So they're not necessarily corporate, but they have a brand identity that isn't just themselves, and so typically sometimes there's more than one person involved. And when that's the case, I think, like, you use the same thing. It's about learning from your story, learning from your experiences, learning from your superpower in terms of what are you passionate about and bringing that through. But ultimately, then it becomes a game of who are you actually trying to serve and who are you trying to attract. And for me, what excites me about branding and developing brands, or you know, in marketing and creation and filmmaking and all that stuff, it's about telling a message that resonates with the people that you want to serve. It's about telling a message that inspires the people you want to help. It's about creating a message and telling a story that captivates your audience. So who is your audience? What do they want? How can you capture their attention? How can you captivate the audience? How can you impact them on a heartfelt level? And your brand should be built around that. Your brand should be built around how you're impacting them, the emotion, the story that you want them to feel when they interact with your brand. So from the logo to the colors to the style, the photography, all of these visual elements should be, you should draw that from understanding the people you're helping and understanding yourself. Yeah.
Awesome. I appreciate that. And I'm glad to be back because I got booted off. Thanks guys for having my back. I thought I lost this whole webinar. I was about to go in the corner and cry. I was like, what happened? Yeah, so there's a lot of good stuff. Obviously, Project Bali is the next step. And if people want to be a part of this amazing 5-day experience 1 month from now in Bali, Indonesia, where could they go?
So BaliBrandBuilding.com. We'll post it in the links below. We'll post it in the comment below. But if you go to BaliBrandBuilding.com, you'll see more of a thorough write-up in terms of what you can expect to achieve from the event, clients' past experiences. And, to get involved, you simply got to apply. So by following to that page, read through, get a feel for it, hit the application. From there, you'll be able to enter your details and get booked in for a call to chat with me personally, or potentially chat with AJ. To basically discuss and see if this is something that's going to take your brand to the next level. See if this is something that's a good fit to help you get from where you are now to where you want to be.
Yes, I'm typing that in the comments right now. BaliBrandBuilding.com. And I'm just pinning it. Boom. Beautiful website. And nothing more than to go on that website, look at what is going on, simply apply. And Corey, what would you like to add?
Yeah, I guess, the only thing I want to add.
Well, I was going to ask you, like, what perks are they getting? Are they getting private massages and pedicures?
Yeah.
Corey will be handling the private massages.
Yeah, I got you guys on the massages. These hands are made of steel, baby. They're made of steel. No, but I guess at the core, like at the heart of this, I feel like if you're really looking, if you feel like you're doing something right now and it feels okay or it doesn't have as much as excitement as it did before, and you're looking to see how you can expand that because you feel like you're here to do something bigger, and you feel like maybe what you're doing right now doesn't feel big enough. I feel like with that, this retreat's going to help you with that. It's going to help you get connected to that in the sense where you're not really pushing, you're being pulled. You know what I mean? And because you're being pulled and you're showing up in your highest authenticity, people are recognizing that, people are engaging with that, people are investing in that essentially. So yeah, that's how I'm gonna leave it off with.
I think a great word that came up when you were saying that was alignment, right? And it's all about having alignment. And when you're aligned, you just attract all these amazing people, opportunities, wealth, happiness, freedom, flow. And I feel like when you're in a place where you can just get away from the chaos and just be in a place of looking at your business, looking at your life, being around awesome, positive, like-minded people, it's a great way for growth, you know? And
big time.
Yeah.
Because like when you're in your environment every day, you're caught in the same cycle. It's hard to see the big picture when you're the one in the frame. So sometimes you got to travel to step out of that frame so that you can see it for what it is.
Exactly. And that's why, like, you know, all three of us, we're just dudes that want to help. And if you feel aligned with us, you feel aligned with the message, and you just feel like, okay, I want to hang out with these guys and take my business, take my life to the next level. Simply put, just click on the link in the comments. It's pinned. It says BaliBrandBuilding.com, and everything is on there to join us next month. 5 days in paradise. And, you know, the whole thing is, like I said, we just want to make it an incredible experience. You know, Josh was facilitating an incredible retreat, and I'm excited. And obviously, it's not just us being in a place where we're just serving. We're all learning from each other, you know, because everyone has a superpower. Joshua has one. I have one. Corey has one. You have one. And it's in this place where we all get to magnify our skills and become better in the process. So I'm excited because I feel like, I have this like intuitive feeling that there's gonna be a lot of breakthroughs going down in that villa. I'm pumped about that.
Oh, 100%. 100%. Like,
Awesome. So you have to end off this amazing live training, Joshua. What are some final words of wisdom you want to share with the audience?
So final word. So you might have, you know, you've probably attended seminars, you've probably attended events, you've probably had coaches, you may have been part of masterminds, but what I can guarantee is you will not have gone through an experience like this before. The experience that we have, you know, ultimately it's just drawing on from like years and years of experience ourselves and years of wisdom, years of lessons, years of mistakes, years of failures has been amalgamated into creating this. So if you know, I know a lot of people make big promises and they say this is going to be the breakthrough, this is going to be the thing that you need. But I can confidently say this will give you some of your biggest breakthroughs to date. And you're going to be in good company to take those breakthroughs and implement them to get some of the biggest returns on investment that you could probably achieve this year.
Yes. Cheers to that. What a great way to end it. And this is the once in a lifetime experience. So you don't want to miss it. You snooze, you lose.
Yeah. Yeah, all of that.
All right. So, hey, Joshua, thank you for being on here. Corey, I appreciate you. And everyone that's listening, if you're aligned with this and you're like, man, I just got to go to this amazing experience, click on the link below, and we'll take from there. You guys have a lovely day, night, wherever you are. Love you. I appreciate you. And I'll talk to you soon.
Thank you.
Peace out, guys. Take care.
Cheers.